Welcome to the first ever episode of the After Credit Show. I'm Caleb.
I'm Shaps.
And Matt's here.
Matt's here too. Guys, we had a very special night tonight. This is our first episode ever doing anything like this. I'm very grateful for the guys here in this room and the other people that came out with us. We got to see the new DC movie, The Flash, come out 4 days before the actual release of the film. So I'm really excited to get this early review to y'all. How do y'all feel tonight besides tired?
Hey, you know what? I didn't actually have that much of a problem with it. We did have to get there super early, but it was actually quite enjoyable. I think, it wasn't that bad. And yeah, what about you?
I actually don't feel really tired right now, surprisingly, for
Wow.
10:30 on a Monday.
I'm somewhere in the middle. Not like really tired, but I'm getting a little sleepy.
It's like, I would love to go to bed, however.
If anything, I just really hate the drive to Dallas.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Who don't? But hey, we stayed up for you guys because we love y'all and we want to give you the scoop.
Well, guys, let's get right into it. That way we're not wasting anybody's time. Okay. First disclaimer, this review will contain no spoilers. All right, that's the first thing. Secondly, we still don't curse. Is there anything else you think we should put in the disclaimer? I think we're good. No spoilers is the big one. This probably be a little bit shorter because...
We're not going to be talking about anything that has nothing to do with the movie.
That is correct. No behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. All right, let me just go ahead and get this out the way. That movie was freaking phenomenal. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, and I'm in complete agreement. And I think we just kind of looked at each other throughout and we were like, "Oh my god, this is the most amazing. This is not the most amazing, but most amazing of the year so far." Movie, definitely.
I was blown away.
It's it reminded me of Top Gun Maverick. Like, oh man, this is the reason I want to come back to movie theaters. You know, like, oh my god.
Wow, that's really high.
Yeah.
To compare it to Top Gun Maverick, wow.
Oh, that is pretty high.
How
about the
No, I'm talking about a movie that gets me to come back to movie theaters,
okay.
Not that they're the same in any way, but more like that ultimate movie experience that, some way directors talk about.
Yeah.
How it's meant to be seen, on a big screen. I really think that really benefited this movie, to be honest.
Absolutely. How'd you feel, Matt?
I really liked it. My only problem is that I haven't seen all of the DC movies that are currently out there, and so I wasn't lost because I know the bare minimum about the Flash to enjoy the movie. But I mean, I don't know. My whole disclaimer is that I never actually read hardly any comics growing up. So, and I have to say, because of Marvel's movie success, I've by default leaned towards their movies.
Okay.
If it was reversed, then I'd be all over DC movies.
Yeah, I agree with you. So what I love about this movie is that it stands on its own.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
It's like there's humor in it, which is definitely Marvel inspired, and not that they tried to rip off a tone or anything, but the jokes that's clearly a Marvel thing that started a whole new trend with Marvel movies.
Yeah, because it's no secret General Zod's in it, so there's obviously some callbacks like Man of Steel. If you compare Man of Steel, that tone compared to now, and it's very obvious in this movie that we're trying to contrast it.
Yeah.
Who directed this?
Andy Muschietti, I think that's his name. It's not a guy that's super well known to me.
Okay.
I know he's done other things.
Yeah, I know post Zack Snyder, we've kind of lightened up the mood a little bit.
Absolutely. And that's definitely Marvel inspired. Also the fact that Zack Snyder's universe failed pretty bad.
Yeah.
So ever since Batman v Superman, they
which I still haven't seen.
Okay, well they centered their whole universe around that movie, and so ever since then they've been recovering.
Well, it was a speed run to the Justice League movie because Marvel was so ahead.
Correct.
But yeah, and then we saw some promise with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and
then Wonder Woman 2 came out, knocked us down a peg again.
I forgot Wonder Woman 2 existed.
Yeah.
We all did.
Well, some of us didn't even know it came out.
That was COVID.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, I mean.
But okay, so just a little bit of background on this film. In the comics, the comic that this movie is based on is called Flashpoint, and the premise of the comic is pretty much the same as the premise of this movie. But in the comic, they use that as a hard reset on the comic universe. So the Flash goes back in time to try to fix something in his past, and in turn it accidentally messes up the timeline. So when he goes back again in the comics, he goes back to fix it, he stops himself from doing what he did, it rebooted the whole DC universe.
Yeah, and depending on like which iteration of the story, it changes based. Like the characters will change, what happens it will change. So you can't really like do a deep dive real quick and figure out everything that's going to happen.
Right.
So is this how we're going to tie into James Gunn's new universe?
That's what I thought it was going to be. I think a lot of people thought that's what it's going to be, and very much it could. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So I will say, without getting into spoilers, it's not the be all end all of here's the answer to all my questions about the future.
I'll just say, well, you said it really well when you said this film stands on its own.
Yes, it is
like,
its own thing.
I wouldn't go in expecting, oh my gosh, this is going to be a transition. Like, enjoy the movie.
Yeah,
like the
absolutely.
movie's there to be the movie.
Yes.
I thought it was just going to be, okay, this is going to be one big segue to James Gunn. No, it generally is an entire movie.
Yeah.
That was awesome and just interesting and hilarious the entire time.
Absolutely. Matt, so this is one of those movies where you get so excited in some scenes and you want to nudge your buddy and be like, oh my gosh, this is going on. But how did you feel? Like, did you get that way? I would say you're more of an average film goer. So as an average film goer, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I completely understood all the moments when people were cheering, and I mean, this was in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, but Michael Keaton, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
There were 3 moments I remember when everyone cheered in the audience.
Yeah.
And I was cheering right
the guy next to me, like complete stranger next to me, he just kept like, he was literally on the edge of his seat like the whole movie, like bouncing up and down, and he looked like a 30-year-old man. Just
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, like I lean forward so many times, and I'm almost a
for
30-year-old man. So I guess let's break it down. Is that a good introduction? We can start talking about
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so let's talk about the story, and I don't mean let's talk about spoilers. Obviously, spoiler-free review.
Yeah.
But let's talk about pacing. So there were plenty of times in this movie where I got so worried that they were throwing too much in the film, because the first 45 minutes, I'd say, throws a lot at you.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was paced pretty well because I didn't really feel lost at all.
Yeah. So the whole time I'm on the edge of my seat, like, okay, like I was never bored, not even for half a second.
No, for
I was
real.
entertained from beginning pretty much to end.
2.5 hours, right? It flew by.
Flew. And the movie was over. I was like, already?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no scenes where it's like, man, this is really dragging. No, it just flowed pretty well.
There was one scene I did not care for, and it was real short, but they put in that little storyline where the boss is like, Barry Allen, you need to you need to balance your life
You've
better.
got moxie and potential. You've got to be better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that didn't really go anywhere.
And then it went nowhere
Yeah.
after that. But that's the only thing, because everything else that was like, okay, where are they going with this?
Yeah, that was like a 2
They went somewhere with it.
I thought it was just there to show, like, the whole secret identity, like, superhero versus life balance.
It was very generic.
It's basically like J. Jonah Jameson and Peter Parker dynamic.
No, it's like the guy who owns the pizza shop.
Oh, yeah.
That quick.
Yeah. But like, yeah, you're right, because they don't even follow through on that.
Yeah.
But that's the only plot line where there's like really no payoff. But everything else that they throw at you, I was like, I don't know how they're gonna tie all this in together. Oh, they found a way, and boy, did they!
It's got the laughs, it's got the heart. I borderline cried.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I was emotional during some scenes.
A couple of them, not just like the one. Every sad scene that every movie has to have.
Right.
No,
Exactly.
This movie had like a ton of heart. It was super intentional, and the pacing was amazing because like they really took the time to care about the characters themselves.
Yeah.
And the storyline and how it all fits together. So, no, I love the story. I was able to follow it really well. Yeah, like I'm a more than average moviegoer, I suppose.
Right, for sure.
I don't watch all the DC films, but I'm a huge DC fan.
There's a lot of fan service, but like in a good way.
Yeah, so I actually don't mind.
It wasn't
fan
pushed
service.
too much.
No.
I mean, here's the thing. In my head, I'm like, okay, they have to do this and they have to do that, and they did that and they did this. But I'm like, it wasn't like cringy. It wasn't forced. It was very natural, and there were even like some little subtle fan service moments where like if you blink you miss it, but I'm like, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and I was like, hey, that's cool. But it's like there could be like cringy fan service,
right?
But then this is better fan service.
Absolutely, because like I will say, like, there is nothing in here that made me really cringe, and I know Matt might disagree on that.
I think initially you may think you're gonna cringe at the humor, but like give it like give it a second and then like it'll hit you what's going on.
The humor was good. It's just like I've started to like just laugh at scenarios. They're just like, I know like they're there for suspense, but they're just like so improbable. I just have to laugh now. Like it's like, oh no, this building's collapsing, but the building's full of babies.
Okay, yeah, that was like kind of messed up and also hilarious.
Yeah.
Or it's like there's school children crossing the street.
We'll get back to that scene. I do want to bring that up on another section of it. I will say you really don't have to watch any other movies to get this movie.
I don't
because I haven't seen
the characters are recognizable enough. It's not like Marvel where like everyone had to be explained who Iron Man is, who Captain America is. Everyone knows who Batman is. Everyone knows who Superman is, or Wonder Woman. Whoever's in the film. I'm not telling you who's in the film.
Yeah, I'm putting emphasis on standalone, dude. Like honestly, I feel like I didn't have to watch anything to be caught up on.
No, I really didn't have to. And like I said, I didn't watch Justice League. I didn't watch Batman v Superman.
Yeah, and I'm all caught up.
The only things I did watch was like Aquaman and the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah, well, so balancing. I brought up that earlier. This still felt like a Flash movie too. That's the thing, because with so many characters, it'd be so easy for Michael Keaton as Batman to steal the show, and to make it just like, oh, we're just going to focus more on Batman and the Flash is in the back. Like, no, like Flash has his arc. He has a beginning, a middle, and a payoff. And at the end of the movie, I was like, this is a dang good Flash movie.
He's got a pretty good hero's journey.
Yeah, nobody stole the show in this. Besides, everyone stole the show in a sense, but in a way to where it was still the Flash.
They were all supporting in a great way.
The Flash, had his whole... it was still a Flash movie. The same thing with the Spider-Man movie. It had all 3 Spider-Men in it, but it was still Tom Holland. It was his movie.
No, so I think I told Caleb this. I actually preferred this. I mean, maybe it's because I'm DC, but I actually preferred this over the third Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm. And why would you say that?
Oh, with Tom Holland. That one felt, believe it or not, a little bit more fan servicey to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was definitely fan servicey.
Way more fan servicey to me, but not in a cringy way, but more of a why does this need to be there kind of way. This makes so much more sense in my head, my head canon, and you might think the same about Spider-Man, but I also felt like Spider-Man kind of, the problem that the Tom Holland films always had, he kind of got lost in his own film with all the supporting characters, all the side characters. You're right, Michael Keaton never took the spotlight away from Flash, ever, and I really appreciate that. And it was very condensed. It felt very naturally flowy, didn't slow down. Get it? At any moment,
No, I was really worried that the other characters would overshadow people, and it didn't. Not even a little bit, honestly.
How many people went to go see that Spider-Man movie because of Willem Dafoe and freaking what's his name? The Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. Obviously, there are going to be a lot of diehard Spider-Man fans, but a lot of them are going. Most of them are going to probably go because, oh my gosh, all the Spider-Mans are here.
Right. No, I know what you're saying. I would tend to disagree, I guess, in a way. But we can agree on the Flash. Everyone had their moment to shine, but it was still a Barry Allen Flash movie, and it was just so good. I was so worried with all the reshoots and all the behind the scenes. I really was worried that the movie would be a mess, and it wasn't.
Yeah, we're not gonna go into deep at all with that, but it is such a shame that this of all movies, holy crap, why does it have to happen? You should some way or another. You don't have to pay for it. Have a friend pay for it or something. I don't know. Just see this movie somehow.
Yeah.
Because all the actors, did a tremendous job, and the writers were amazing. The soundtrack was awesome too. Love the soundtrack.
Yes. So, anything else you want to say about the story, Matt, before we move to the next part?
No, overall, thought it was good.
All right. Can we talk about the effects?
Yeah.
The effects were really good at certain times.
Very hit and miss, yeah.
But sometimes the CGI was so bad.
Particularly with faces.
Yes. Okay, yeah, there was only one major thing that took me out of it, and I don't know if they were going for realism, but without spoilers, I guess it's the whole his running effect and the time, the time changing effect, that was really weird looking to me.
Yeah. So we brought up the scene earlier with the babies in a falling building. So there's a really good scene where the Flash has to save.
Very beginning.
Yeah, very beginning. Has to save a bunch of people at the same time.
Yeah.
And when he's running to grab all these people, the CGI on their faces looks so bad.
And the dog.
The whole thing. The thing about that is everything else looks amazing.
Yeah.
I love the way they design the Speed Force and how he moves He moves almost slow as everything else is going really fast, which is a really cool idea.
That did look
concept.
Cool.
It looks really cool, and it's very Flash.
Yeah.
Because everyone, has done a fast character before in a superhero film. But, this really was the OG, and it really shows, just how unique his design is. And, the orange, yellow lightning, how iconic that is. I specifically, towards the beginning of the film, they show, a one running shot, where he's, bouncing from city to city, and they show everything about it. It's actually kind of a lengthy scene. But everything's just beautiful about it, from beginning to end. And they show a time traveling effect. Again,
that's the
faces, which kind of distract it. But I like the idea of how it works. It shows, without telling you this is how this works, it shows you how it works.
Yeah, the time travel scene gave me Rogue One vibes.
Yeah.
In what way?
The Grand Moff Tarkin.
Where the CGI is really bad on faces.
I mean,
de-aging didn't look good.
Like I said, hey, this has been a thing for every DC film. Their CGI has always been awful. I disagree. And for when it comes to faces, I could care less at this point because most CGI now sucks with faces.
How hard is it to deep fake? Though,
it's not that hard anymore.
It's the uncanny valley effect, though, dude. It's so hard to get it down for people who are just desensitized now. But I was distracted by the rest of the effects, and I focused on that, and I thought it looked really cool.
Well, I would let the time travel part slide, because, it's like a kaleidoscope effect kind of going on. It's not meant to look real, I don't think.
Right. I can agree with you on that. Anytime they de-age faces, I know you say, let's just get over it. I can't, because, on YouTube, people with their $50 laptops can make these really good deep fakes where they can de-age Harrison Ford. They can de-age...
Or they did Henry Cavill's mustache better than the CG artist.
And it looks right on par with the $50 million budget they wasted on that. I just think, if a troll online can do it better than some major studio, I don't see why major studios haven't picked up on it. It's cheaper. It works. It looks good. It looks natural. I just wish they would quit trying to de-age so much if they're not going to do it right. And we have... The technology exists to do that right now, and they won't do it.
Yeah, I get your point. I also am cautious to say, why don't they just do this? I have no idea how movies are made.
That's fair.
From beginning to end, you don't... obviously there's going to be some people who are oh wow, I wish it looked better. But there's got to be a reason whether or not it's a suit or they were cut on. They're probably
that's fair too.
Strapped for time. It takes a lot of time and effort, to actually make those. It's not 1, 2, 3.
And you're right. Yeah.
No, I thought the action looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the action was fantastic. I remember which one else said it, but there was their design choices looked really good. What they chose, this is what this is going to look like. This is what the action scene is going to look like. They looked... The design was cool. Then it's just when they put CGI on it, that's when sometimes it didn't look so great.
Sure.
But their creativity as far as here's what we're trying to design looked great.
If this was a cartoon, Spider-Verse or something, it would look amazing.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And let me tell you, with some of these action scenes, he will punch people in this film. Spoilers, he'll punch people. And every single punch, you feel it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's in slow-mo, and it's amazing,
Yeah. I want to talk about how DC films nowadays, especially with Marvel doing this, the costumes are more colorful, the background's more colorful, everything contrasts each other, and there's a lot of color. So when you get the Barry Allen Flash running around in a Zack Snyder looking, everything's white.
It would have been grayscale.
Everything's grayscaled. But when Barry Allen's running in it, he feels almost like a man out of time. And it contrasts the rest of the world. So they're using the same whatever camera or color scheme for the Zack Snyder stuff, but then the Barry Allen that we know and the colorful is running around, it just pops.
That's a great way to put it. That's totally what they were going for.
Absolutely.
Well, I think with remember, these are comic book movies, and so it's comic books are vibrant mostly.
Yes.
So
So I love it when the comic version, the vibrant colored Barry Allen, even Michael Keaton's Batman, because his costume is very colored. It's very distinct.
Always was, yeah.
Yeah, and then so when they drop all those versions in the Zack Snyder ugly looking gray universe, then everything just pops out, and it's very distinct. You can tell the difference. It's beautiful. So like you said, just sometimes the CGI isn't up to par, but their design choices, the creativity, what they were trying to do, it really shows, and I think it does overpower a lot of the problems that we have with the effects. Yeah. Any other thoughts on effects and anything?
Well, back to action. I guess I think what I thought was probably one of the better action scenes was already given away in the trailer. that was with I guess Supergirl or Superwoman. I don't know what her proper name. Okay, don't know what her proper name is, but yeah, when she's like revealed, like she's like fully straightened after breaking out of that prison and like starts beating all the soldiers up. I thought, well, I was kind of like, well, that was kind of already given away. So
yeah, you're right, because like not it's hard to do trailers. I understand people that say I'm not going to watch it at all.
Like there was still more action left over.
Yeah,
but
that was a really good scene.
That was a good scene to give us in a trailer.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because there were other times other things they could have done with her too. Other parts I thought would have fit a trailer better.
Yeah,
but the action did not disappoint. Michael Keaton.
No, it was really good.
A stunt double, but
probably.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It's like. The action was fantastic. Like sometimes it was hand-to-hand combat, great. Sometimes it's something ridiculously goofy, but it's funny and it gets you all excited.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it whenever the two Barrys like finally get in sync and like have good action together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So now let's move on to soundtrack. Anybody have any thoughts on the soundtrack?
Wasn't distracting, which is exactly what I need in a soundtrack. Like popping, like very much complemented the colorful nature of the Flash, but did not distract. Like, I wasn't like, oh, what's this popular song? That's everyone's into right now. Mm-hmm. Like everyone loves the Sweet Dreams thing for Quicksilver. Mm-hmm. I don't get behind it because it's just so overdone. I hate that song.
Speaking of not being distracting, I barely paid attention to it.
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? That's probably a good thing, to be honest.
I mean, it should complement and blend in, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like unless it's Hans Zimmer, like I kind of don't pay attention to the soundtrack.
Well, there were picked songs. These are like radio songs, basically, kind of like a James Gunn thing. To pick like popular songs to put next to action scenes, but yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, the only one I really did like recognize was 25 or 6 to 4 because I heard that one a lot in high school.
Yeah, I think the soundtrack was really good. That obviously you got to bring out the old Batman theme.
Okay, yeah.
So I think it's utilized pretty well. Yeah, I don't know that part. I didn't have any complaints. I don't know how.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, like, oh my gosh, I hope they do this. Yeah, they're probably gonna.
They're probably gonna do it because you're right. There's a lot of fan service. There's a lot of like, okay, let's pay this off for the fans. Right. Like, you know what you're getting in for when you're coming in to see this. So the other thing we want to talk about is characters. Mm-hmm. We did touch on the fact that none of the other characters outshine Barry. Barry gets a full story. It's very satisfying. There's such a good conclusion for everybody, almost in a sense, but. This is in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler because the trailer spoiled it already. So there's two Flashes running around. I really like the contrast between old Barry and young Barry.
Yeah, it's it goes beyond just their physical appearance. Right. Like they're very different people.
Yeah, and it is wonderful. I think. I know. Now, Matt, what are your thoughts?
Oh no, like it is part of the whole plot.
Yeah,
but like. Young Barry, I just found so annoying to where it's like I wanted to punch him in the face.
Right.
Like I know. Like maybe that means he's doing a good job at his part.
Yeah.
But
I actually didn't find him that annoying. I found him really funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm in the minority there, but I thought he was hilarious.
No, me too.
Yeah.
But honestly, so here's the thing: the Justice League and was there another one he was in for fun? I think he was in Suicide Squad.
He was in like a cameo.
Yeah, but basically in Justice League he was annoying. Like none of his jokes were funny.
Yeah. And
he's like doing all the dumb stuff. Nobody likes him. And then in this one they lean into that. Like, okay,
I think President Barry actually makes a joke about it. Like, which is funny.
He's like, wow, this is.
He's like, I see why everybody hates me.
Yeah, because like they're poking fun at what they tried to do to copy Marvel in a sense, and I love that they're addressing their mistakes in a sense. So I thought their dialogue between each other and the self-realization of like, okay, we created a really annoying character, but we fixed him.
Yeah,
because the jokes now I would argue are some of the best ones in a DC film, and even a lot of like some of the older Marvel films where they were trying to be funny and they kind of suck.
Well, nowadays, modern Marvel, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty interesting the way they have the two Barrys. It's like simultaneously an origin story and simultaneously not. Like more like you have the mature, like we see like this is his first rodeo, and at the same time it's an origin. So
yeah, absolutely.
This actually didn't have as many like I am sick to death of quippy humor. Mm-hmm. This one actually didn't. I don't remember there being like a whole ton of quips.
These were jokes.
These were like slapstick jokes.
Yeah.
These were like visual jokes. A lot of them were. Yeah. And then like the verbal jokes like really landed. Like they set up and then they pay off. Like So yeah, it wasn't like cheap quiffs, you know, like this character's being awkward for a second.
Yeah,
and,
not even
funny.
a little bit.
No,
it was funny. Like whoever they got for the jokes, man, just really knew how to do it.
Where was this the whole time?
Yes.
Like, I mean, I get it, you know. I don't get it actually. Where has this been the whole time?
Yeah,
because this is not a James Gunn film. So like,
right.
where? Oh man, I really hope these writers and these directors, you know, whoever the director is, you know, goes on to do something really cool.
They had their work cut out for him because there were so many reshoots. This movie went through some development hell to get it done, and the fact that it wasn't a cluster puck, it like blows my mind because I was hearing about this until I saw the first trailer, I was like, this movie's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Like just all of the stuff I was hearing. With reshoots and changing directors and all these things.
I think I even brought it up on the podcast when I was like, hey, did you see The Flash in your trailer? And you're like, oh, yeah. This is...
Yeah, exactly. What about you, man? Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, no really complaints. I mean, again, I don't know like the source material, so I don't know if like the characters are being true, but I mean...
Right.
The only character, I guess, was a slight disappointment, only because she doesn't get a whole lot of screen time, was Supergirl.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's true.
I mean, like, I think...
She's just there.
I think she was cool. Don't expect her to have a whole lot of screen time.
She's kind of a MacGuffin in this movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, like, I think she did a good job. I think the actress did a really great job. For the little time she had, I do really like the scenes where she's talking about, like, her backstory.
Yeah.
That hit home. And, like, whenever she, like, reacts to something, she emotes really, really well.
Like, good actress.
Yes,
absolutely.
exactly. Like, she did a fantastic job for what little she had. And it's not that she was, like, a throwaway character. She very much is crucial in some parts. But don't expect this to be, like, her introduction to anything.
Well, let me tell you something. You jogged my memory. They made some of the characters that I hated in previous films a lot better. General Zod was threatening in this movie.
No, dude, we talked about that. Yeah, Zod, super threatening in this. The Kryptonians are really threatening in this. Again, don't expect them to take a whole lot of screen time, but they make their mark.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought they were just going to be like, oh, they're going to be background characters, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like how Infinity War, you know, a lot of the villains were just like kind of in the background. No, these characters make a freaking presence, you know, when they bring them back. So I love how there's reason to bring them back. There actually are legitimate threats.
Yes. Yeah, I know in Batman v Superman, they brought back Michael Shannon to play Doomsday, and he's not even in the movie. And it's like, why would we even do this? No, you're right. There's a reason Zod's here. There's a reason these characters are here. And they just utilize everything. Like, Zod in the Man of Steel movie was, like, just so cartoony. No one liked it. No one liked the character.
He just kind of screamed a lot. And then,
but no,
his henchmen were boring, and I don't know. His fight with Superman, I guess, was the only like cool part, but you know, it was the first of its kind.
He's threatening in this movie,
dude.
Nothing's worse than a villain. Nothing's worse than a villain who's not threatening.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, competent villains, man.
Yes,
just like
very competent. I'm intimidated, you know, when the characters are trying to work around things and start working stuff. It's wonderful. Honestly. But what do you think, Matt? About
it's been forever since I've seen Man of Steel, so I kind of forgot what. That movie's over 10 years old, so I forgot how Zod acted in that one. But
cringy.
But yeah, no, I thought he was very compelling. Like, he's really like throwing good hits and like kind of intense.
Yeah. I would almost argue like, okay, let's do another Superman movie with this General Zod, you know, to where there's a real fight, there's real stakes.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
How like, man, just like one movie in 2.5 hours can like. It's almost like that prequel syndrome or something, you know, where you're like, oh, maybe actually this could work, you know, in the right hands, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm down for it. I mean, like.
Absolutely. They're not going to, but it's just a nice throwback.
I hope something happens. Like, this movie deserves to be inspiration for something.
Yeah.
It can't just be James Gunn takes over and that's it. Like, this movie was too freaking good. Just be forgotten, which is kind of the point of the movie, which is funny, but.
Yeah, absolutely. Performances. I am very upset. I don't know what the future is for Ezra Miller, but he was so good in this movie.
Yeah.
He was funny. He played both characters. That's the thing. Like, when he can play two versions of himself, and
I believed it. Like, I believe they were two different people.
Yes.
Also the same person.
You're looking at both of them. You don't know which one's young Barry, which one's old Barry.
Yeah, you have to act like your cringy self back when you did your first movie, but also act like your more mature self in this more competent movie. Like, at the same time, the whole movie. They were, again, like, there's not one scene, you know, after they're introduced where they're not, you know, together, which is just crazy.
Yep.
So, like, he probably, honestly, his career is probably tanked after this. However, just Yeah. What a...
We'll see. Nothing's clear.
Yeah.
But as far, like I said, the fact that this was so standalone just really helps. That we have this movie to hold on to, even if the future's so uncertain, unfortunately.
And yeah, Michael Keaton freaking still has it.
Yeah.
I don't know the last thing he's been in, but like probably
He's done some movies where he's an old guy.
I was about to say he's probably done like those old mom comedies or something, but like... No, I really loved him in this action role.
Well, I mean, during the action scenes, I'm like, yeah, that's obviously a stunt.
Oh, for sure. Like, he's old. He's gonna be in his 70s by now.
But I believe Batman could.
Yes,
that's the thing. He turned into Batman instantly.
Yeah,
you know, I believe him to be Batman.
He's still got the presence. We talked about already. Michael Shannon plays Zod.
Mm-hmm.
We loved him. It was a lot less cringy, a lot less over the top. Ezra Miller, obviously. And
who was the Supergirl actress?
I'm not sure the name of her.
I don't.
But she was great.
I'll look her up.
She was good
because she deserves that. Sasha Kelly,
and she is fantastic. So I mean, just don't worry about like, oh, is the acting good? It's good. Yeah. It's some of the best I've ever seen in a DC film.
Yeah, I mean, it gets emotional.
Like I said, no, there were a couple times where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to relieve.
Yeah, no kidding. I need to go wipe my tears. Okay, last thing I want to talk about before we conclude. If that's cool with y'all.
Yeah.
Enjoyment.
Are we going to get into any downsides?
I mean...
Like cons. I mean, we're kind of
cons,
going...
Yeah.
We're kind of like hitting them as we win.
I thought so. But no, go ahead then. What are some cons?
Well, my only con is that around like the main story, like we already talked about, like it's already known in trailers, is like time travel and splitting of major events. And so it kind of gets like concepts of like multiverse and alternate things. And so like I just want to say like I'm already burnt out on multiverse ideas.
Okay.
Like pretty early on, because it's like it just feels like everyone's doing it, and I feel like it's, I don't know, it's becoming like an easy plot device.
Yeah. So I have a slight rebuttal to that.
Okay, well, I mean, I do want to like finish and say yeah, it is in the fan service way we talked about. They did this. Yeah, like it's funny. Mm-hmm. Like we saw Spider-Verse a few weeks ago, and that was great because it's funny. It's like let's just throw in like all the craziness of what's all possibly out there. We know Marvel's doing multiverse, and I don't know, it's kind of not the most solid start ever, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I'm getting a little overwhelmed with everyone doing multiverse stuff. Even Rick and Morty has been always doing multiverse.
A lot of this stuff hits me with like Rick and Morty vibes in a sense. But again, Marvel started the trend, and now everyone's trying to copy them.
And I will say, unlike Infinity War, where like they just kind of were like time travel, Flashpoint Paradox is one of the biggest story arcs in the Flash.
Yeah,
his character, like that goes way back. So yeah, it's kind of sucks that it lines up with all these other multiverse movies, but you can't do Flash without the Flashpoint Paradox. It's the most famous story.
I mean, they had to kind of do it with their first Flash movie, unfortunately, because of how they just were trying to change everything.
Yeah, but, and it doesn't also. I wouldn't say it strives too hard on the multiverse because like it's not like you see characters from all other universes all over the freaking movie.
Yeah, I mean it's not like Spider-Verse or Doctor Strange,
right? Where they're just trying to shove everything in there.
Yeah, no. So it was pretty well balanced in that regard.
Yes. But I know what you're saying. I understand because like when some of this stuff I was watching them explain it, and I'm sitting here like Rick and Morty, or like even like Across the Spider-Verse again.
I mean it's just kind of like 10 years ago when like everything was a zombie movie. Like I was just annoyed with it.
I feel you. Yeah. So any other cons you want to get into?
No, that was really just the main one.
Okay, to me. That's actually a really good
superhero movies are just not going to die, are they?
No, they're not. They make money. This movie is, if it doesn't break $1 billion, I will eat a shoe. Like I just don't.
Which
see
it's
it.
subject to.
Do it on camera.
Which I hate because like it deserves that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think it will. I think it'll break the $1 billion like easy.
As soon as it's so weird because we saw it early. Like legitimately, please go see it.
Yeah.
As soon as like some people like the word gets out that this is actually an incredible film, like only time can tell.
Everyone's excited to see Batman, and then once they go see it that first time and see how great the movie is and get all excited,
really let's go see it again.
They're gonna go see it again. I could actually really see. I could see myself seeing this again and actually paying money for it, but I want to get an early reaction for y'all.
Yeah.
So enjoyment. It sounds like we've been stroking this movie pretty hard. So let's be real. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I loved it.
It was so good from beginning to end. Other than that one scene I said at the beginning, even sometimes the bad CGI did not deter me from loving this film.
But yeah, there's like like any film, there's like 10% flaws, maybe 5% for this movie, and like the rest of it just like I really liked it. Not everyone's gonna have my fanboy tendencies, but like even beyond that, putting that aside, from a critical point of view, I still really liked it.
Oh, it was just so good. So, what about you, Matt? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, are we gonna give like our ratings, or how's this gonna work?
We can do that, but that'll be at the conclusion. Just did you enjoy
how many
it?
beef jerkies out of
how many?
5?
I give it 4.
I give it 4 pancakes out of 3 beef jerkies.
All right, but
no, it was really good. No, I definitely would have paid money to see this.
Yeah, I mean, there were just so many times where, again, it's one of those movies where you're gonna clap with the audience sometimes, and I love that.
Dude, it's fun.
That never gets
we didn't
old.
start it either.
No,
like everyone was freaking like,
yeah. Whole crowd cheered.
And I ain't gonna lie to you, there were points where
Multiple times.
There were points I didn't even wait for anybody else to clap. I was like, yes. The action was good. The writing was good. The characters are great.
Humor is amazing.
The effects is, sometimes they're not that great, but it didn't deter me from the rest of it, dude. It was just so good. It's such a good movie.
Good job. What a like a very, very slow and bumpy road, but such a big high to leave on.
Yeah. So farewell to the Snyderverse, but it makes me excited for what's to come. Whether any of this ties into the James Gunn stuff or not, like I don't know, but I'm excited. Like this got me excited for superhero movies again. Because DC is now under new management and they clearly know what they're doing. I'm excited. But Matt, anything else you want to say about that?
Nope.
Okay, ratings and then final thoughts. Just let's just go real quick. Shaps, are you able to give it a number score and then give me any final thoughts you have on it?
Yeah, honestly, sounds crazy. I think 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Very rarely is there ever a perfect movie, but as close to perfect as this film could have been, it absolutely was. Mm-hmm. Humor, great, very refreshing. Especially after all this, again, like I said earlier, quippy humor, it puts that to rest for 2.5 hours, Characters were great. Actors did amazing jobs. Like, they all deserve Oscars for this, probably.
They won't, though.
They won't.
Superhero movies are not noticed
No,
by
I know,
Oscars.
exactly. I got emotional. It tugged at my heartstrings, and I'm going to go hug my mom after this.
Matt? How many cups of coffee out of 7?
On real ratings, I want to give it at least an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. Yeah. I guess because the biggest thing for me is because, like we said earlier, like I went into this blind without seeing most of the other movies, and like I wasn't lost at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in contrast, on the Marvel side, if you miss one thing, you're going to be so lost on their latest stuff.
Yeah.
So this is enjoyable for anyone to see.
I agree. Take your kids. Take your
wife. Take
your grandparents.
we saw all ages.
Yeah.
That was actually really cool, too. I just noticed, I thought it was all going to be kind of like, fat, sweaty nerds, but no, it was just like a lot of old people, a lot of kids there,
There was a guy talking to Shaps in line. He's like, I was a pastor and now I'm a pagan.
Yeah, Sir, I didn't need your whole backstory. Like a Skyrim.
Are you a supervillain now?
Yeah, like a Skyrim NPC. Yeah. I was a soldier like you.
And now I'm a pagan.
Yeah.
Like he pulls out a necklace with a pentagram on it. Like, oh, okay.
Guy. Hey, he was actually a pretty cool guy. But yeah,
I'm sure. All right, my final thoughts. Shaps, I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10.
All right.
There were points where the effects were not up to par, and it's despicable when they CGI dead people. But I will say, it did not deter me from the rest of the movie because the heart carried it. The heart of the scenes they were trying to capture and paint with bad CGI, they had good intentions. It wasn't like Rogue One where they were clearly just trying to get you excited by seeing old stuff. This was like, no, we're putting this in here because it fits and we want to get people excited for it. 9 out of 10. Action's great. Writing's phenomenal. Characters, setup, payoff, the full thing. You will laugh, I promise you. Even if not all the jokes work for you, you're going to laugh at some point. If you don't, I don't know what's wrong with you. Go see a doctor. I give it a 9 out of 10. On the other scale, I give it 5.5 coconuts out of 7. This is a fantastic movie. All right, I think that's it for tonight. I know y'all want to go to bed. I'm going to edit this and send it out. Guys, I hope you all had a great time listening. I hope if you want any more of this, please, absolutely, let us know, because we're going to try and see some other movies early to get some early reactions. We're going to do some of the bigger ones, though, if we can, because it's not worth it sometimes going to go see a movie no one else is going to watch.
Let's get to 50 subscribers first. Can we do it?
Yeah, if we hit 50, I will cry, because I would be happy.
So wait till we see the train wreck that is Indiana Jones 5.
Oh, spoilers. Yes, the next time we go do something like this, we're going to go see Indiana Jones 5. If we don't get early tickets, we'll watch it the night of and give our honest opinion.
Yeah.
So, guys,
we expect it to be terrible.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad. And you know what? Like any train wreck, it's fun to watch. Guys, I love y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like and subscribe if you want to see more. It doesn't matter. You're going to see more anyway. But I hope y'all enjoyed time today. We'll see y'all next time.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.